Hello, my name is Steve Bowler, and welcome to Juniper Border Gateway Protocol, BGP lab number 10. In this lab, we're going to take a closer look at default routes. What we're going to do is show you how to configure default routes and also verify that the configuration has been completed correctly. We're going to teach you and explain to you why you would use default routes and send those to your BGP peers. So the first thing I want to do is just explain the current network topology. We have 4 routers in this network. We have R1, R2, R3, and R4. Router 2 is the hub router, and we're going to use this as the ISP, our Internet Service Provider node. And routers 1, 3, and 4 are going to be spoke routers. Router 1 is in Autonomous System 100. Like we said earlier, router 2 is in Autonomous System 200, router 3 is in AS 300, and router 4 is in AS 400. We are using logical tunnels in this video and in this lab between all of the routers. We are also using logical systems. If you're not familiar with either of those terms, I would recommend watching our Juniper Logical Systems Labs number 1 and 2 that are part of Juniper Series 1. And what we are using is logical tunnels. These, to define our logical tunnels rather, they are going to equal LT120.XX. For instance, for router 1, the connection between router 1 and router 2 on R1, this is defined as LT-120.12, but we have shortened those up in our network diagram just so that we don't take up a lot of space and make it easier for you to read. The network between router 1 and 2 is the 12 network. Between router 2 and router 3 is the 23 network, and between router 2 and router 4 is the 24 network. We have loopback interfaces defined on all the spoke routers. On R1 we have loopback 0.1 where we have the 1 network, the 11 network, and the 10 network. Router 3 we have the loopback 0.3 interface with the 3 network, the 33 network, and the 30 network. In router 4 we have loopback 0.4 where we have defined the 4 network, the 44 network, and the 40 network. And as you can see, we are using all of the routers. For instance, on R1, we're using all .1 IP addresses to define the interfaces. Same thing with router 2, we're using the .2, as you can see. All the logical tunnel interfaces end in .2 in the 4th octet. Same thing on R3 and R4. So what we're going to do first is we're going to set up, and I should mention that we have the basic interfaces defined and the logical systems are defined. So at this point on R2 I can ping R1, I can ping R3, and I can ping R4. I can't ping the loopbacks. We're going to advertise the loopbacks on all the routers into BGP, but for right now we just have basic connectivity set up. And when I say basic, I mean just the interfaces defined